everybody, welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Hannah Hillam.
And I am Kaveh Taherian, and we are both anemic.
We are actually.
Yes, I just found out. Just got the great news this morning. Got my blood work back. It's my first physical I've done in entirely too many years. I'm not even going to give you the number because it's
and
depressing.
It shocked me.
Yeah, anyway, but great news.
Great news.
I'm anemic, apparently. I'm going to start taking B12 like a 1,000-year-old man.
Or like a 22-year-old woman like I was when I was 22. Yeah. But listen, welcome to the club, the Dizzy and my dying club.
I don't know. I'm excited to see how much it can fix. Maybe my hair will grow back. Maybe I'll keep growing and getting taller. I'm hoping that my skin is less pasty afterwards.
It's going to grow and grow and everyone's going to be like, someone has to stop him.
They're like, you didn't finish your second growth spurt. It came at 41 years old. I don't know why it's an old British doctor, but it is.
Yeah, we have to stop you. We have to physically stop you from growing more.
Yeah. Too much. Anyway, other than that, apparently I'm in good health, so that's exciting. I don't know why I wanted to share that with the audience, but just in case they were wondering and worried about it.
Well, I think that nothing else is happening in the news or world right now, and so I think that is the most important.
It's a good distraction to know about my mid-podcast's anemic results.
I'm glad you don't have other serious issues.
Me too.
That's
knock
nice.
Wood. I mean, anyway, I have to go. Yeah.
You haven't finished. All right.
Sven, as we call in Farsi. Anyway, yes, that's the biggest update of this week. Nothing else happened.
The day of our Lord, November 8th, 2024. Nothing big has happened this week.
Recording.
Yeah.
No, of course, we got the election results sooner than we thought we would. And now we're living in a new paradigm. A lot of people are feeling many things, but the main thing that we thought would be fun to address, not that anything's fun, but we did get a bunch of comments from people saying that they were grateful that, our podcast is silly and goofy and still teaching people things. And it was really, I have to say, considering the depressing state of the world, it was really nice to hear that. So we just wanted to say thank you to everybody who took the time to let us know that, because often, it's nice to have an audience, but you don't actually have any idea if it's got any impact on anybody beyond just something you're listening to randomly. But thank you guys for that. And I think Hannah and I were discussing before we started to record that, what do we do? What do we address? And I think mostly what we want to do is to continue being idiots, because that's the thing that we're really good at.
We excel at that.
Yeah.
And I think that in a time when we all need to use our talents for the greater good, this is literally all we have. So
talented at being dumb.
So stupid. No, but you sent me one of the messages that I got on Patreon, and I was at the moment I was feeling pretty down, I'd say, and it really did. I was like, okay, this makes me feel a lot better. And I was going to say that also made me realize that the thing that matters the most, I mean always, but especially now, is take care of those around you and the community you live in. That's what matters. So
we'll keep being dumb.
Idiots.
We'll keep being the dumbest idiots you ever.
So stupid. So dumb. We're just going to keep saying that.
It's more important than ever. We're part of the dumb resistance.
We're part of the clown class of people that hopefully will survive any insurrection as long as we're funny, right?
Yeah. We're going to be knitting idiot hats that we wear everywhere in Washington every week as we march. Idiots!
We're going to have
we don't stand for anything. We're just
bracelets,
dumb. Oh, dumb bracelets. I think those already exist.
They do.
That's not a commentary I'm going to make.
Me neither. Not today.
Not today. But anyway, thank you guys for the lovely messages. It was nice to hear it. And, good luck to all of us who knows? As my friend Chuck said the last time this happened, he was like, well, we're about to start an adventure. That's the only way you can really look at this.
I just wish that the crossing of the threshold back to the real world, if we're doing this by the hero's journey, I wish the crossing of the threshold weren't another one of these. That's the problem.
Yes.
Where it's like, maybe we'll, enter Bindor we've learned from both.
I rejected this call.
Same.
I wanted to reject it. I didn't want it.
You know what? We're going to accept the call of being in, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
Yeah, we're just going to be idiots. I think that's the thing that matters. We're not good at this. That's the thing, is that we don't know how to talk about this. We should just talk about tabs. Why don't we talk about tabs? We got a couple of good ones for you this week. I assume at least one of them is going to be good.
Yours.
I don't know about mine.
Oh, okay. Well,
anyway, okay. So that's out of the way. I think you're up first this week.
Fun conversation out of the way.
Was I up first last week?
No, I was first. Wait, so you go first.
Right, so you want to...
I can also go first. I've been planning on going first.
I'll just go first just to spite you.
Fine. You think I care about anything?
No, you don't. Okay, so... During the month of October, Sarah and I, like many people, we tend to watch a lot of random spooky stuff in honor of Halloween. Do you do that?
Depends on the year. Before I had kids, it was like way more. We would just watch dumb stuff. But I'm not here. I'm weirdly enough, like I like the creepy stuff, but when I have to watch anything scary, it ruins me.
I mean, it depends on like what kind of scary it is. A lot of scary stuff that's murdery to me seems more like it's like flinchy, murdery stuff. It's not necessarily scary. It's like jump scare stuff
that messes with your mind a little bit.
Yeah. We watched The Substance. I thought of you, although I thought you might not like it at the same time. But it's the Demi Moore movie that came out.
You thought of me. What is it about? What happens in it that made you think of me?
I almost feel like you should just watch it without knowing what it is. But short version, body horror. And it's ridiculous. It gets ridiculous, and I never want to watch it again. But I respect what it did. No.
Okay.
But it was fun. We went and saw it on Halloween night.
Oh, fun! Like at a theater.
It was a fun. We went because we were like, we're old. What are we gonna do? Anyway, so we watch a lot. We tend to do like a theme stuff. We watch, not super horror movies. This year we went a little bit more horror. Sometimes I do
horror.
Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah, same.
We try and watch those like once a night, but now there's so many of them it's hard to do it. But this year, what we did that was really fun was we started watching the Universal Monster movies.
Oh yeah,
which I don't. Have you seen any of them?
Probably. They're just like the regular old like Godzilla stuff like that.
No. Like the Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy,
I think
the Wolfman, all that stuff.
I that's what I pictured, but I said Godzilla. So, yes. Okay. Yes.
Godzilla, famously a Japanese franchise, but I'm going to let that just
edit that out.
Hang like a smelly fart in the room.
No one's surprised. I don't know what I'm talking about with movies. You say Universal, I'm like, Godzilla.
Universal Monster. By the way, as I was getting ready for today's episode, I was like, what am I going to wear? And I realized that I have this wonderful t-shirt that we got from the Universal Sign Shop. So shout out to them. They printed some of the stuff for our wedding. Sarah's worked with them a bunch. And also, do you remember the Mothman cutout ornamenty framed things that I had at San Diego this year? They're the ones who cut those. Yeah. They're very nice. So I was excited to actually have a proper... This episode is not brought to you by Universal, but I thought it was fun to give them a shout out. Anyway, so you have seen any of those old monster movies or you have not?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. I know that if I think that in the pop culture zeitgeist so much that yes, I kind of have, but I never sat down and watched
they're really...
one.
So basically, here's the thing. They're like 70 minutes, all of them. They're very short. They're iconic. And they're a lot of them are really funny. And like just 10 out of 10 would bang. I love a lot of them. Some of them are a little bit more boring than others, but generally I think they're like it's worth a watch because it's such a low time commitment.
Bang, Marry, Kill. Which ones?
I don't know. That's hard.
I would bang Dracula.
Okay, sure. I think you would enjoy The Invisible Man, by the way, in particular, because it's like the most unhinged out of all of them.
Based on
an invisible novel. Yeah, they couldn't read it, but it just picked it up.
Yeah, they couldn't even read it. They just guessed it.
I think they're all based on something.
Cool.
Anyway, you would like. I feel like it would be really fun if you and I watch Invisible Man because he's just nuts and he's just trying to spite everybody for no reason because that's apparently the condition of his invisibility. It's really funny. He's totally out of his mind,
and that's a condition of my existence. Is spite.
It's great, but so what's seen as the last movie in the unofficial UMCU, the Universal Monster Cinematic Universe, is The Creature from the Black Lagoon in 1954.
Yeah.
So do you know The Creature from the Black Lagoon? The costume, obviously, I'm saying. Like, you're familiar with the monster. I know that you might not have seen the movie, but I'm saying you're at least familiar with what it looks like.
I am familiar with the monster. And I did an illustration job where, like, it was kind of based on that. And I had to draw these swamp monsters and pulling
That's
people
super cool.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that.
It's been years. I'll find it. It's in like my portfolio, literally like my physical portfolio.
Physical portfolio, old school. Yeah.
It's not on the computer. But so I know I read I read about Creature in the Black Lagoon to get reference, but that was about 15 years ago.
So Black Lagoon is really interesting as it relates to the rest of the Universal monsters. So if you don't know anything about the movie, I'll give you like a quick summary of it. It's basically about some scientists and they have this like finance bro boss when they find these fossil remains of a potential missing link fish person in the Amazon. And they go on this expedition to find more evidence, which leads them to the titular Black Lagoon, where they find one of these creatures is indeed still alive and thriving. He's living his best life. Then, of course, the boss is like, we need to capture it and bring it back home so I can be richer and famouser. And then the scientists are like, no, dude, you got to leave it alone. We got to like study it for science and a bunch of people fight and get killed and the creature is horny for the only lady on board and tries to kidnap her and like blah, blah, blah. I won't give you all the spoilers, but it's like kind of exactly what you would think, honestly, because a lot of those come from these movies specifically. Those tropes do. So whatever. That's the time, but it's a fun one. And I had seen, that was the only one I'd really seen before. I saw it like a long time ago, like when I was like in the 6th grade or something.
Oh, wow.
But it was really fun to go back and watch it. So first of all, the remaster, excellent. The quality of the remaster is beautiful. It looks fantastic. It looks crisp. Part of this, I think,
how do they do that?
I don't know. Part of it just has to do with like how high resolution, like how well the film prints have been preserved, and
I see
how high if they can do like a 4K scan of it, all this stuff. But it looked really good, and the thing that really stuck out to me, which should probably come as a surprise to nobody, is that I thought that the creature suit and design looks particularly fantastic. I'd remembered I'd seen it before, and then of course Shape of Water came out a few years ago that Guillermo del Toro did that movie where he it's inspired obviously very heavily by that. But when I was looking at the suit and I was looking at the creature and I was looking at this film that was remastered so well, I was like, this design is so fantastic and beautiful and like fun. And I was like obsessively, I've been drawing it in my sketchbook for like the past week. And I keep doodling it, and I was like, what is it? There was something about it that I couldn't quite nail and I couldn't put my finger on. So like that's sort of what I've been obsessed with. Like that's the tab I've been thinking about. And
I think I've seen some of those drawings, like you were kind of starting to.
Yeah. So when I started to really break it down, I kind of realized what it was that I thought was so fun about it. And that is, it essentially, the design of the costume feels like a line drawing. And that is what's so fun. That's why it translates so directly and easily into drawing.
Oh, cool.
So it's a simple of these really simple graphic shapes in the face that frame the eyes and the mouth beautifully. So it's like the gills come out in like this triptych. I can send you a picture of it if you haven't looked at it in a while.
I need to be reminded of.
Yes.
I think I can imagine, but I don't remember.
So if you just look at, this is sort of the iconic shot of him. If you look at it, to me, it looks like not only the faces that got a really interesting design, but also the way that the rest of the body and the scales, like they look like contour lines almost, like it's armor in a way.
Do. Like you're looking at a figure drawing sketchbook and they're like, this is what it looks like when you have the leg at this angle.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be really fun to draw.
It is really fun to draw.
Because it's literally like, it tells you where the spine is. It tells you exactly where to put. Oh yeah, look at that. I kind of like this little face.
The face is a lot of fun too.
Those gills are cool. How'd they do that?
Well,
are you going to tell me?
Yeah. So what's interesting to me is I was like, you probably have this too, where every once in a while you get a sixth sense, and I'm like, that doesn't feel like it was designed by like a normal makeup costumey person, because I was like, that feels drawn. That feels like a person who's an illustrator designed this. It's a very different sensibility. Yep. And so then I went to learn more about the designer. Turns out it was a lady named Milicent Patrick, whose life, shall we say, had some drama.
Oh, yes. I love a good dramatic illustrator's life. Remember when I did Rose, What's Her Bucket?
Yeah. Rose you're going to like this one. Yeah, you're going to enjoy this one very much.
Okay. So she's an illustrator.
She's many things, and including a pioneer in a lot of ways, which I thought you would really enjoy hearing about. So, I would. And you will.
You better. It's better be good.
I'm going to mansplain to you, this pioneering woman, about all this stuff.
I would have it no other way.
So before I get into it, much credit needs to be given to a lady named Mallory O'Meara, who wrote a book called The Lady from the Black Lagoon, which unfortunately I didn't have time to read it because it's a whole book and we have to turn these around very quickly. But it seems to be a very definitive source for a lot of the articles that I found and all the research I found online, because a lot of Milicent's contributions had either been deliberately erased or forgotten.
Wow, that's weird.
Never seen that before.
It's just every single time.
Yep.
Every single time I hear about any woman in any field, that follows it.
Oh, this is going to be confirmation bias, the tab. So get ready.
I love confirmation bias.
Mildred Elizabeth Fulvia de Rossi
Italian.
was born in 1915.
Okay.
Her father, Camille Rossi, was a structural engineer. And when Mildred was 6, he was hired to work on William Randolph Hearst's infamous Hearst Castle.
Yes. Oh, I was there just like Oh, I guess that was like a year ago.
Oh, okay. Well, a year ago is not that long.
Yeah.
How did you like it?
It's still pretty cool.
Sarah and I keep talking about going, and then...
Have you ever been?
I've never been. I've always wanted to go.
Oh, it's pretty cool. I went, my favorite, I have like recurring dreams about the pool room in that house.
Oh, okay.
Because for some reason, whenever I'm in there, I'm like, this is what heaven is. I just want to swim in this pool. That's like
beautiful.
It's not even, you know what? It's not even particularly like, yeah, beautiful, but I just see it. I'm like, this is what I want to be. I want to be in there. I have
awesome.
Dreams about swimming in the Hearst Castle pool, like constantly. The indoor one, not the outdoor one.
Yeah. I've seen pictures of it. It's gorgeous.
It's an amazing.
Yeah.
And then you have to kind of ignore the fact that he was like a horrible person.
Sure.
Because the house itself is gorgeous.
Actually, so her father becomes the project's construction superintendent and employs him for like the next 10 years.
Whoa.
So Hearst Castle, with its 2,000-acre private zoo, swimming pool, as you said, French pastry chefs, pet leopards and lions, and a near constant stream of celebrity guests, is where Mildred spent much of her childhood. She's just running around playing in all this insane, crazy, like over-the-top cartoonish castle that literally exists like only in one place in this country.
I mean, I know that there was the like, as you go up there, like take the tram up there, you're like, they're like, here's his personal zoo, and it was literally like acres. And like, yeah, zebras would just run around here.
Yep.
And it's like, man, come on, why would you, rich people, you know?
Yeah. So just Mildred, imagine like that's what your childhood is playing there. Like you're in literal Xanadu, like from Citizen Kane. Like that's basically your upbringing.
A dream.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, Mildred becomes a very gifted artist and receives multiple scholarships to the Chouinard Art Institute, I guess is what later would go on to become CalArts. So I didn't know about this. That's a whole other tab.
Oh, interesting. That
Chouinard.
Chouinard?
Chouinard Art Institute. So I guess it merged with some music thing. And then, because Walt Disney was like, oh, this place is great. And then that's what he merges with another one and it becomes CalArts. So effectively CalArts, but before it was CalArts. And the Institute served, as it did for one point, maybe not as much now, but as an incubator for Walt Disney Studios. And in 1939, she was allegedly recruited by Walt himself
for what?
To work for the ink and paint department.
Oh, yeah.
To work for the ink and paint department.
Okay.
I don't know how much you know about the ink and paint department at Disney. Do you know much about it?
I know that a lot of them were women.
Yes, pretty much almost exclusively, if I'm not mistaken.
Because I watch like old Disney movies and literally like all of them are women, except for like the main animators. Yeah, so basically that's a whole, again, you're going to be hearing this a lot, but like that's a whole other tab in and of itself that's worth looking into. That's why we do this show. Yeah, but basically the women were all housed in a building away from like the nine old men is what they called them. I don't know if you're familiar with those guys. I have a friend who is the grandson of one of them. Really? Yeah, Are you at liberty to say which one? No, not on this podcast. Okay, but basically the ink and paint department was separate, and like we were saying, primarily, I think it's almost all women that were in that. Well, department. Back then they would give the repetitive garbage work to like what they viewed as like the repetitive work to the women, like the human calculators at NASA and stuff. Right, exactly. So what they're doing is all the cleanup and all the cell painting of all the different animation cells, which is laborious and insane, and they put them on like these crazy deadlines to get all this done, and they're just like a factory. Half the money. Oh yeah, of course. Listen, there's completely glossing over this, but the important thing to know is right at the back, right at the gate, Mildred is part of this legendary crew. So she was one of the first people that gets hired to go work as part of this whole operation. Okay. And she works in the color department, and she manages to score even like a gig as a in-betweener on Dumbo, which I think was somewhat rare for a woman at that time that was being pulled away from that ink and paint. Whoa. So that was cool. And then she also goes, and most notably, her pastel work appears in Fantasia. Oh, yeah. That was her. So do you remember A Night on Bald Mountain, that sequence? No. It's the best one. I'm going to show you. I mean, I got to just say, I'm purely visual. There's no words that mean anything to me. So I just need to see it. It's, as we would say, the one that's metal as shit. Yes. Scary as a kid. Yes, really scary. That's very scary. It's still pretty scary, to be honest with you. I went back to rewatch the clip, I was like, this is still really dark. It's really awesome. I love it. I remember we watched this at daycare. I had this, in like the early 90s. And I remember just being like, daycare's scary now. I don't like daycare.
It's a scary one. But so in it, there's a winged creature named Chernabog, by the way, is his name. I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, it's fine.
He's perched atop a mountain, and he's like summoning demons from hell, and all this crazy stuff happens. Again, totally metal. And apparently, so sort of how that sequence ends, I don't know if you remember, but like there's a bell that starts ringing. It's like ding, ding, and it's signaling the dawn that's impending and about to come up, and he's going to have to go back and hide away from the light. He turns a little bit abstract, and he becomes super pastel-y, and there's this hard blue outline of him as he's sort of confronting the light. That's her sequence.
Oh, cool.
That she famously animated.
She animated that.
Yeah, apparently, or according to the internet.
Yeah.
Or I think she did all the pastel work, I should say. Like she basically translated rough rough pencil drawings into like a pure pastel interpretation. That's
extremely hard to do.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes.
All right.
Again, if you get a chance to go back and watch it, it's really quite beautiful.
Fantasia.
I mean, I liked the Fantasia is great, but that sequence in particular is a lot of fun. I don't know how much the modern human mind can even comprehend what cell-shaded animation used to look like traditional, because it was so phenomenally different than anything you see on TV or in movies now. Nothing against CG, of course. A lot of it's still so beautiful, but just the 2D stuff used to be very, very different.
And it was also like amazing, but doing it took every ounce of somebody. Like these men did not see their families.
Yeah, no, that's all they did.
They neglected their children. Like this was
very much
yes,
so.
It was beautiful, but then you got to remember also like there's a reason we have shortcuts now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, animators still don't see their families.
That's true.
But
they're all overworked, a lot of them.
Yeah.
For very little money. Anyway.
Yep.
At some point during her tenure at Disney, Mildred strikes up a relationship. And she's having an affair with another Disney animator named Paul Fitzpatrick.
Okay. Should I know who that is?
No.
Okay. Whew.
He wasn't like one of the 9 old men or anything.
He was just a dude, yeah.
But it's saucy.
Yes.
Paul, you're not gonna like this. Paul already was married, and his wife was pregnant.
Ew.
Apparently, Paul's wife found out about the affair and tragically decided to take her own life. Yeah.
What?
Yep. Now, this your face. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like this at all.
No one does.
I thought neither of them were married. I thought it was just a fun workplace affair.
No, he was married with a wife, and her wife was like, nope. No, what's even crazier is I guess that Mildred and Paul were like, oh man, that's really terrible, but at least we can get married now.
Oh no. Okay,
and they did.
Right. Okay. They got married.
They got married.
Did they already have, was there kids in the mix? Like, did she become a Instamom to some other kids?
I did not find that information. I'm not sure.
Because that's messed up if that's the case. Because imagine they're like, mom's dead, and now dad's our new
remarried.
Mommy, who she killed herself about.
Yeah.
Insane.
So this marriage leads to Mildred's estrangement from her family. Her family's like, what are you doing? No.
Yeah.
And so they're like, bye. And they stop talking to her.
Oh, no. Okay. I mean, that's rough. That's rough. It's like, am I the asshole?
Yeah, no, right.
I made my fiance's ex-wife killed herself because of me.
Yeah.
It's like a Reddit post.
Really because of him, but to be fair.
Yeah. No, and the thing is that at the end of the day, when somebody chooses to take their own life, there are a lot of reasons.
Yes. So. Who knows? But I just thought that was like a particularly insane turn of events.
It's absurd.
And then it gets more absurd. A few years later, of course, they get divorced.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. It's not a good way to start a marriage.
Terrible.
And it's at this point, so remember, his name is Paul Fitzpatrick, and she's married to him, and she takes her last name. So after they get divorced, she starts going by Mill Patrick. So she shortens Mildred to Mill.
That's funny.
Eventually, this evolves into Milicent Patrick, which was a nod to William Randolph Hearst's wife of the same name.
You're right.
Yep.
The one he also cheated on a ton.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm like, Hearst isn't known as like this like great guy who's like, I can't believe that guy cheated on us. Oh, what?
Him having mistresses was the least of his issues.
Yeah, exactly. He
literally started and caused a war just by publishing something.
So she basically gives a nod to that, to her, to her roots of growing up in Hearst Castle. And she's like, I guess I'm Milicent Patrick now.
It's a good name.
It's a good name. It's a great name. So this is where she enters her weird like it girl phase.
Yeah.
And she starts telling people that she was Disney's first female animator, which like not exactly, but like kind of ish.
One of,
it's debatable. I think she's sort of omitting things at this point, but you can't say that she wasn't a pioneer, but you can't say that she was literally the first. And then she also starts saying that she's an Italian baroness.
I mean, I was going to say with a name like Rossi, but she changed it, so never mind.
Yeah. Furthermore, I'm going to send you a picture of her, but if you look at pictures of her...
Straight up lied?
No, it doesn't look that far off.
Okay.
This lady looks like a movie star.
Yeah, because her last name was De Rossi. That's Italian. She's going to look Italian.
But just look at this woman.
Oh my gosh. She's beautiful.
Right. I wrote, to use the parlance of our time, of those times, hubba hubba.
Auga. She's gorgeous. Look at her. There she is drawing.
You're like all flushed. You're just like, oh.
I haven't felt this way since the Icelandic Dracula episode.
Yes.
Yeah, she looks like a movie star.
She literally just looks like a movie star who was an animator, and then she was like, I'm also an Italian baroness, and we love a good grift.
Yeah.
I'm like,
whatever
sign
you
me
have
up.
to do.
Yeah, whatever you got to do to make it. And so she basically starts this next phase of her life. And
Amazing.
In 1947, she meets producer William Hawks, who is the brother of very famous director Howard Hawks.
Okay.
And old Bill, he's like, you look like a movie star. You're beautiful. You're like an actress.
Hot.
Yeah, you should be
talented?
in movies. Yeah.
Oh, wait. She okay, go on. I keep
So
interrupting.
Bill starts casting her as an extra in a bunch of like random flicks. And then so she gets this like acting career going randomly.
Look, the doors that open when you're beautiful.
Yeah, it's true.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
It's kind of hilarious though. It feels almost cartoony the way that she looks like a version of what you would imagine, like you would make up now as like a parody of like what a 1940s like actress would look like.
Because she's not like she doesn't have the natural like effortless look of a movie star. It's like she is attempting to look like one of them. You know what I mean? That's what I get. But yeah, she looks like a parody of a movie star. You're right. I'm still looking at her.
Yeah. And so she starts getting an acting career going, and she's going around and she's like she's working in a bunch of movies. She's like an extra. She's getting bit parts here and there. And then she starts dating this guy named Frank Graham.
So far, she's a lot like you. Artist, famous extra. Simply got into a movie because you fit the part.
Literally, everybody reminds me of that, and I always forget. Yes.
Again, my favorite thing about you.
I'm an Academy Award. I'm an extra. I feel like we've talked about it many times.
You're an Oscar-winning extra.
Oh, no, I'm an extra in an Oscar-winning film.
I would prefer to say the other one.
Just say yes.
I was funnier.
Famously up there with Ben Affleck when they won Best Picture for Argo, and in the background,
escort you off.
Yeah,
they're like, you were just in the background. We just needed someone who was Persian. Get off the stage.
Listen, I had lines, and the lines got cut. Unfortunately, Ben, I will never forgive you. But R.I.P. his marriage to J-Lo. He's having a tough time. I forgive him. He's trying to make it through. Anyway,
yeah, he's
I don't
a
know what
good guy.
that was. He's funny.
I don't either. We can cut all of this. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So she starts dating this guy named Frank Graham, and Frank Graham is best known as the voice of the wolf in Tex Avery's Red Hot Riding Hood. Do you remember that cartoon?
Yeah, I do.
He's the wolf.
Yeah, I just got a flashback memory. Okay.
Yeah. Tex Avery cartoons, again, another thing that even though we're not that old, but that's the kind of stuff that we would see on TV.
It was just reruns. It was like after school, nothing else was on, and you'd watch like old cartoons.
Some wacky animation.
Weird stuff. Yeah.
So she's dating that guy. She's actressing, doing whatever, like random jobs here and there. And then Milicent.
Is she still animating? Hold on. Is she still animating through all of this?
She's no longer animating. No. She leaves Disney. So in 1941, there's like a big labor dispute in Disney. And I don't know if you knew about that, but that's around the same time that got her other husband, Paul Fitzpatrick's they're having the affair, and then the wife unalives herself. And so she ends up just like leaving and then getting wrapped up in all that. And then once they get divorced, she's like, I got to figure something out. So then she runs into this guy, William Hawks, and then now she's acting.
Okay.
She's no longer working as an animator at Disney. Anyway, so she starts dating this guy, Frank. Things seem to be going okay, but a few months into dating,
oh no,
Milicent would cross paths with yet another tragedy.
No.
For in September 1950, Graham unalives himself.
Huh? Is she cursed?
I don't know.
She's just like, people see her and it's like Sylvia Plath's husband.
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy who, both of his wives killed themselves in the same way.
It's unbelievable.
Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Ted Hughes. Sylvia put her head in an oven and then like he remarried and then she also killed herself that way.
Yeah, so this guy, I think this guy does the old, he goes into the car and pipes the exhaust into it.
Yeah.
And he leaves.
Thanks, Elon Musk, for killing that industry. The old garage suicide. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, can't do that with an electric car. So after he does that, he leaves a note in his will stating, quote, to Mildred, I leave nothing except the pleasure she will have knowing that now she won't have to decide whether I am good enough for her or not.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That is dark.
And then he writes a postscript. It says, gee, I wish Mildred had called me back yesterday morning. Drama.
Yikes.
Yeah. So there's that. But again, crossing paths is like, again, totally weird and insane. This is like, again, very 1940s and 50s kind of level of drama.
Yep.
So she's acting, continues to work, living her life, dating here and there, whatever. And then one day, while she's on the Universal lot in 1952, she has a fortuitous meeting with Bud Westmore.
Okay.
Now,
who's that?
It doesn't seem like you know the name Westmore. So
I do. I've heard the name Westmore. Is it a Hollywood family?
Yes. That's again, as I've said before, that's a whole other tab.
No, I've been down the Hollywood family tab.
Okay.
With like the Barrymores and the Coppolas and stuff like that. But I'm sure I've read about them
Bud
too.
Westmore. So Bud Westmore, the Westmores are a movie makeup dynasty that began with George Westmore, who founded Hollywood's inaugural makeup department in 1917. So literally, the Westmores invented the makeup department that exists.
What? Okay. All right. That's wild. So I like at the very beginning too, 1917.
Yeah, from the beginning of it. And the Westmore family has had 4 generations of Hollywood makeup artists and designers.
Whoa. I love stuff like that, where it's like still in the family. Like you'll hear about like this restaurant owner who's like owned the family restaurant for like 200 years in Japan. You're like, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's like a passed down craft.
Yeah.
I actually had the pleasure of meeting Michael Westmore. Do you remember when I got that like Gore Vidal, Richard Nixon record? Yeah. Then I said I went to an estate sale.
Yeah.
That was Michael Westmore.
Like a month ago.
Yeah, it was like a month and a half ago. That was his home that he was trying to get rid of a bunch of stuff and they were selling all this stuff. We got a bunch of random Star Trek stuff because Michael Westmore had worked on all those. He worked on like DS9 and stuff.
Whoa.
Very nice guy. And I also got a cool book for Joe that was like DS9 stuff. So it was really cool. It was crazy to see his house. But I met him. Nice guy.
Wow.
Now, Michael's uncle, Bud Westmore, on the other hand, famously kind of a huge dick.
Okay. All right. But the name like Bud.
Yeah, Bud. Can't trust a Bud.
I don't think you can. That's the thing.
I don't think I know many Buds.
I do.
Budweiser is the only one I know. I like a good Budweiser. I like a Bud Light. I'll drink a Bud.
Bud Light's a good guy.
Yeah.
My name's Mr. Light.
My name is Mr. Light. He knows how to light up a room when he comes in.
Kill us both.
Yeah. Yes. Unalive us. Anyway, from the sound of it, Bud was deeply insecure about his standing within the Westmore legacy.
Oh, okay.
He was controlling and he was temperamental, but he was the head of the Universal Studios makeup department and he had the last name of Westmore, so everyone just had to deal with his bullshit.
Oh.
So Milicent meets Bud and she shows him some sketches and some of her work. And he's like, oh, snap, you got some talent. And he hires her to work for him, making her the first woman to work in a special effects makeup department, probably.
Whoa. Okay.
Once again, another pioneering random thing that she just like happens to come across through chance and through her skills and talent.
It's tough though, because like women, I mean, you don't, who knows how many women were uncredited.
That's what I'm saying. You don't, well, she's not even credited for a lot of this stuff. So that's the thing. It's like that the lady who wrote the book ended up doing like digging into a lot of these archives and researching. And so what's an important part of the story is that like her name keeps changing too. Remember, she's Mildred, and then she's Mill, and then she's Milicent, and then she's Patrick, and then, you know what I mean, and then she's DeRossi. So it changes from time to time. So eventually this woman was able to
such a fun
string them all together. Yeah. And just be like, oh, this is actually all the same person. So
same person. Whoa.
And of course, a lot of the archives aren't necessarily credited or saved about any of this stuff. So it's hard to say, but at the very least, you can say she's an early pioneer in this other industry. And she's credited with designing the pirate faces in a movie called Against All Flags, the makeup of Jack Palance in Sign of the Pagan, the alien in It Came from Outer Space, which is a pretty crazy one. Yeah. Mr. Hyde in Abbott and Costello Meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh,
the Metaluna mutant. She's working on stuff.
Scary stuff. Like deeply scary stuff.
She's doing monster stuff, right? So
fun girl.
She's got a lot of skeletons in her closet and like has seen horrific stuff. So
kind of obsessed with her right now.
Right.
Kind of in love. I won't lie. Kind of in love with her.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
She's seen a lot of darkness and she knows how to translate it into these crazy, beautiful, creative designs. Just one more. So one or two. So the Metaluna mutant in the island Earth and was a mask maker for the Mole People in 1956. All crazy, insane, and different from each other. And now we're finally get to it. So in 1953, Bud gets a call from producer William Alland. Alland or Alland, I'm not sure. So this is even weirder, right? In an ironic twist, during the filming of Citizen Kane a decade earlier, Orson Welles invited Bill over for dinner along with cinematographer Gabriel Figueroa, because William Alland was a producer, but he was also an actor. He had acted in Citizen Kane. So literally, again, the Citizen Kane, William Randolph Hearst connection.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, Orson Welles invites them over for dinner with the cinematographer Gabriel Figueroa. Figueroa shares a story that he had heard during his travels of a race of amphibious beasts, half man, half reptile, that stalked the Amazon River.
This also feels like the lizard people underneath LA.
That's true, it does.
That's what I thought you were going to say. I was
wait. It's not that. It just ties back into her own life. And William is like obsessed with this idea and he thinks it's really awesome and he thinks about it and he holds on to this for like 10 years. And eventually he puts together a script and a director to make The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Cool.
And now they're looking for a creature designer. And Bud Westmore is like, I got this. Except Bud sucks at creature design.
Oh, no.
He's not
I see
great.
Where this is going. I see where this is going.
Yeah. And it's really funny. So for the first test, they created a monster that sculptor Chris Miller dismissively referred to as the Pollywog, which I'm going to send you a picture of it. Straight sucks.
That thing is awful. Look at it.
It literally looks like Charlie being the Green Man.
This Green Man in the when they're all staying out in the parking lot and he gets so drunk that he can't move. This is the way he's just like, where do I go? And everyone else, what is this? Look at him.
Awful. It's just terrible.
The face is so good.
So stupid.
Oh, you know what? Although that second picture you sent me of them all walking downstairs, I, for some reason, really feel like I see myself in that monster right there.
Just as a meme, yeah.
I don't understand how or why, but I feel seen right now.
All right, fair enough.
The way he's just like, yes, I'm real, I'm regular.
I'm definitely a monster. So, studio heads James Pratt and Edward Mole said the suit, quote, sucked. After a test screening. Apparently, that's what it's from the research I found. It says literally, quote unquote, sucked after a test screening.
That was in the 50s? People used the word sucked in the 50s?
I can't listen. I shouldn't say that this is definitively what they said, but just from what I came across from one of these sites, it seemed pretty heavily researched. That's what they said.
Okay.
But they basically were like, yeah, no. And the creature from the Black Lagoon seemed like it was destined to drown until they gave our girl, Milicent, a crack at it.
I'm sorry, I just noticed that it has bulging eyes in the second photo. Go on YouTube, guys. Just check it out. Just check out this picture. And he's looking like this. He's like,
it's not a great design, you guys. It's not very impressive.
And it looks just like a penis. He looks like a penis.
It looks like like you're in the 3rd grade and then you had to come up with a Halloween costume and you just like made something out of clay at school and then your mom just had like a green thing.
And then your mom's like, this is being thrown away immediately after Halloween.
It's not very impressive. So eventually they're basically like, okay, I guess like let the woman do it or something. I'm not sure. And so she takes a crack at it and she spends 6 weeks drawing, redrawing, redrawing every inch of the creature. Now, in the story, the Gillman is what they kept calling him. The Gillman broke off from an entirely unknown branch of intelligent, piscine amphibious humanoids that evolved out of the Devonian period.
Oh, okay.
So she started researching that shit too. She was just kind of doing what you would eventually do to become like a concept artist. And
cool.
Eventually she lands on a design that everyone was happy with, which is the now iconic creature from the Black Lagoon.
I'm looking at it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is something that is, you look at it now, especially next to the polywog, and you're like, this is deeply researched.
Yeah.
Like she knew what that illustrator thing where we go down the hole to the rabbit hole to get the thing accurate. At least I do. Whoa, look at her. I'm in love with her.
Right. Again, literally just looks like a movie star who was like hired to come in and draw for the day.
And I know this is so dumb. I'm absolutely being an idiot because it doesn't matter what you look like. I'm just saying she has charmed me.
Look, this is just this, what do they say? The it factor. You're just like, that's literally what actors and actresses are. Like some people you're just like, that person is like great on camera.
Oh, look at her. She's amazing. She's just sketching that. Oh, I don't care if she was the first female animator. She's cool.
Yeah. Also seen some you got some darkness behind those eyes.
People drop like flies around her somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, and she just hung out at Hearst Castle. I forgot all about that. Just remembered that.
What a crazy life. This is not her. This is the actress who was in the movie itself. But when you actually see again, to me, it just all looks like a crazy drawing.
Look at it. You're right. It really does. It looks like an ink painting, like someone. Yeah,
it's
like
very
an ink
inky.
wash.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Chris Muller, who was the sculptor from before, who called the polywog, he goes to work sculpting the Gillman's head, while Jack Cavan took care of the rest of the body. And they made 2 different suits, one for the underwater scenes and one for the out of water scenes, which were very different. I was tempted to go and research a bunch of the stuff about the underwater scenes because there's some Russian scuba suit type like thing that's on it. And then like they had it's really kind of, I mean, that's the thing about Creature from the Black Lagoon that's so fascinating as a film to watch that makes it so different from the rest of them, is that like there's these really beautiful underwater scenes that they have where like someone's kind of swimming around and looking and like they don't realize that this creature is there, and like there's like these near misses. It's really awesome.
Creepy.
It's fantastic. I really love it a lot. And then they had like secret places like underwater where they could have like hoses where the guy could go grab it. But anyway, it's not necessarily about the mechanics of how the suit worked, but
still,
it is a cool thing to go look into it. Yeah.
Because that's like the old fashioned actual like movie effects, where you don't see that kind of stuff anymore. Where you could have died on set. If
honestly, when I was reading about it, I was just like, how do you not drown? And like, what they had like because the suit, the actual mask goes and it completely covers the head. It's not like a person with makeup on their face; it's a full mask.
See, that's crazy to me because it's like. And here's the thing. I'm very surprised that not more people died back then in Hollywood. Like there were some movies. What was it? Wasn't it like Ben-Hur or something where like 15 people died? They were like on set and everyone's like, we got to change some rules around. Yep. But like, I can't believe more people didn't just get seriously like disfigured and dead. Like by swimming in a full body costume.
Yeah. Shout out to your actors and stunt people. They're the ones who take these risks. Some serious professionals that I've had the great pleasure of working with.
They're the real ones.
Yeah. Anyway, so Milicent is also even on set to do touch-ups to make sure that the designs looked as beautiful as they could. Here's a fun little picture of her on set. Again, dressed to the nines, looking like she's talent.
This woman knows exactly what she's doing. You know what I mean? Like she's like, no, I have this job for a reason.
Yeah.
And whatever it was that got her in the door, I'm not saying it's looks, but like she is extremely talented. This is amazing. She seems like she'd be a character to hang out with. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I find that.
Like I need to hear her stories and have her like. I mean, there's something going on up here. Yeah. I'm sure, but.
So eventually, so they finish filming the movie and Creature is going to come out.
Photo.
The one of her putting the paint on.
Yes, it just looks like, again, it looks like an illustration. It looks like she's painting a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, it's very illustratory to me. And again, it all comes back to these. I think that it's the animation hand drawn effect that makes it think like, because you think very differently when you're drawing something on paper.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to somebody who thinks dimensionally, like as a makeup artist, which is again, that's just my own theory about it. This isn't definitive, but.
Well, no, that's what makes people like good. Like if I were to do 3D art, not 3D, like ceramics or something, like I don't
know. Yeah, my brain doesn't work that way. Yeah.
No, and I've tried, like I do a lot of crafting, but even then with like, hey, he's right here, this guy, remember? I don't know how to make, I don't know how to make a person that looks normal. Yeah. Like, so like, and same with photography. Like I'm notoriously bad at taking photos, and everyone's like, "But you're an artist." It's like, yeah, my brain doesn't work that way. I don't see composition in everyday things.
Yeah. So it's fun to see when someone can translate it to a different medium for it.
This reminds me a lot of Edward Gorey and how he ended up. So I'm pretty sure he was neurodivergent. Now that I think about it,
okay.
But he was obsessed with the New York Ballet, and he would go watch them every single night for like 20 years.
That's
no
crazy.
Joke.
Yeah.
Obsessed. And so after a while, they were like, "Do you want to do this set?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll do the set."
Yeah.
And he did like a set, and it was very much his style. It was very illustrative, and that kind of another one of those crossovers. Where
That's
it's
awesome.
Like, interesting.
Yeah.
Let's hire the eccentric man who sits in the audience every single night. But I just love this photo because she's just like, she's so carefree, like just like hand on hip, painting with the perfect hair. Amazing.
Yeah. So
if that were me, I would look like a garbage disaster. They'd be like, "Oh, there she is. Which one's the Lagoon monster? Which one's the swamp monster? Is it the lady with the paintbrush or is it the actual monster?" No. And then they'd all be like, "Usher her away. Lobotomize her."
Lobotomize her, right. So eventually Creature is set to be released. Creature from the Black Lagoon, the film. Yeah. It's about to come out, and as part of an ad campaign, Universal is basically like us. They're just like, "Oh, look at this lady. She's talented. She's good looking. She's good on camera, blah, 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 blah."
We're so dumb. I'm such a dumb artist. I'm like, hot.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
Universal sends Milicent on a promotional tour, billing her as, quote, "the beauty who created the beast."
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They cashed in.
Wow. They cashed in. And again, as we keep saying, she literally just looks like a movie star, and she designed what would go on to become one of the most iconic suits in, they didn't know that, but it would go on to become like one of the most iconic designs in the history of cinema. It's kind of a no-brainer. You're like, yeah, obviously you should send this lady out to the press.
We don't have to do anything. We just have to send her. She's already ready.
Yeah. And unsurprisingly, everybody loved it. Everybody was like, "This is great.
Of course.
She's charming. She's great on camera. She's already got acting experience." Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like it's the perfect combination of all these things. Everybody loved it. Everybody.
Oh.
Except Bud Westmore.
Of course not. He can't handle that.
Nope.
That dude can't handle that.
Nope.
Wow.
So
I hate him.
Basically, you're going to hate him even more. Bud has effectively like a conniption fit. He is the head of the makeup department. Therefore, he should get all the credit, not some lowly ass, drawing designer person.
Woman. Let's just say
and woman. Yeah, true. Or no. So it wasn't just the fact that it was a woman. He did this with everybody. Apparently, he was notorious. So this is an interesting fact I learned about too. According to many sources, including the legendary Rick Baker. Rick Baker, who's deeply famous as an artist in Hollywood. Bud was known for being I can't even, just every movie basically. Okay. It's Rick Baker. Okay. Bud was known for being a thief. And apparently, whenever the studio would want to take promotional photos of different suits or makeup effects or whatever of movies that they were on the road to release, before they were about to release them, that he had worked on, Bud would conveniently give all of his crew the day off from the studio the day that was supposed to happen. They'd be like, "Oh, it's Tuesday. Just take the day off and go do whatever." And everyone's like, "Cool, whatever." And then that's when the press people would come in and take photos, and he would just pose with everything and be like, I'm Bud Westmore. I designed all this stuff.
I hate him.
Yeah. And this one's really funny. So there's this famous photo. This is the one that Rick Baker specifically addressed. And it's a photo from The Creature from the Black Lagoon, I think. And
is Bud on the left?
Bud's on the left. So what's funny about this photograph, why don't you describe it first to the audience who can't see it on YouTube?
Bud with like a little shit-eating grin is describing pointing out, I don't even know, like part of the costume. I can't tell. No, he's painting it. He's just like putting one, like, I don't know. Can you describe it? I don't know what's going on.
He's painting it. So basically there's like a back part of the costume of this sculpture, of this sculpt like that looks like it's in a mold.
Yeah.
And he's holding this paintbrush, as he said, holding a shit-eating grin, wearing a tie, and he's just dressed to the nines. He's not even dressed like in like a smock or something that you would have in a studio. No. And then there's a sculptor who's kneeling below and like trying to sculpt something. So Rick Baker points this out, and he says, apparently in this famous photo, he's pretending to paint the back of the suit as a sculptor is sculpting it. And so everybody in the makeup industry is like, this is clearly a bullshit fake shot.
Yeah.
That he doesn't even understand what to do with this tool. So this is one of the most famous examples that everybody points to just be like, this guy is a liar. Like, he's just taking credit. And that poor sculptor is just like, what am I doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's the smile that gets me. Bud's smile. I just want to punch him.
Yeah.
He looks so punchable.
He's definitely punchable. So
insecure.
Anyway, yeah, very insecure. And
that's what family dynasties do to you.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? Where it's like you have to live up to like multiple generations of people.
A lot of stress.
And if you don't, then lying is the only way to get through it.
Yep. That photo, obviously not specifically from that tour, but all this to say he's got a history of doing this. And despite Milicent never actually taking credit for the design, since she was contractually obligated to give all the credit to Bud. Remember, so she does the whole thing. She goes on this month-long tour. She does exactly like she's asked. She never talks about herself doing it. She just sort of talks about the design of the monster and all that stuff, gives all the credit to Bud, does the whole thing, charms the press. Everybody loves it. She comes back to a pink slip from Bud Westmore.
Oh.
Straight up fired from Universal.
I hate Bud Westmore.
Yep.
I'm sure he's already dead.
He died a long time ago, but yes.
I wish he could die again. What? Just
Bud Westmore,
get a personality.
More like butt east less assless chaps. I don't know. This guy sucks.
He sucks. Assless chaps. Bud east less. Butt east less. I like that. Now, here's I just have this deep rage about that kind of thing because you still see it happening constantly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In every area, like I don't know.
You're too likable. I don't like that. People think that you did it. You've overshadowed me. Fired.
And here's the thing, everyone's going to believe him.
Yep. Unfortunately, this doesn't have a happy ending. That ends her career as an artist in Hollywood.
What?
That's it. It's done. After that, she just has like a couple of small acting roles and then just sort of that's basically it. And
you know, if I had some sort of time machine, I would just love to go back and stop this from happening in multiple instances and see what we could have right now if these women were allowed to keep doing what they were doing.
Yep.
Or if women were allowed to go to school. Like, would we have cured something huge yet? Probably.
Who knows?
Would we be, you know what I mean? Like, we'd be so far advanced if people hadn't have like pushed marginalized people out of the way. It pisses me off. I'm so mad right now.
So I couldn't find a whole lot about what happened to her afterwards. I think it's all like, I mean, in terms of like professionally, she's not doing a whole lot of stuff. So there wasn't much more like available online to find about it. I think probably in that book of the Lady from the Black Lagoon, there's probably more, information about it. Unfortunately, again, I didn't have a chance to read it in time. But all I know is that she basically dies in 1998 on February 24th at a hospice care center in Roseville. So she goes on to live like another 30 years.
Whoa, she lived? Oh, no, sorry. I was like, she lived to be 100, but she didn't. But she's okay.
She's very old, though, by the time she dies. But she goes on to live a whole other life, essentially. I don't know. Again, I don't know about family or kids or anything. I think she has
Right.
a family or something from it. But
It
as
is
far as like,
something.
as far as her creative contributions to the rest of Hollywood or to any of that kind of stuff, I think that basically, I don't know if that's because she's blacklisted or if she just is like, I'm over it, or, you know, who knows? Again, this
Or
might
a
be in the
combo.
book, or a combo of both things. But yeah, that's basically it. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I don't have a happy ending for you.
No,
But
look, I wasn't expecting one.
yeah.
The fact that she didn't get recognized for it till later told me something, you know. This is just, look at that. That costume is really,
it's beautiful.
really cool.
I'm gonna, next time we're in person, I'll show you like the sort of the rhythms of the shapes that I figured out, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. It's so easy. It's just so easy. One of those
things that just like,
or I shouldn't say easy. It's like it's simplified in a way where you're like, it's just, you don't have to think. It's just it's already sort of figured out for you. It's so satisfying. I love it. I'm obsessed with it.
I'm not looking at all these pictures. What an icon.
Yeah.
Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, that's Milicent Patrick. I thought you would enjoy knowing about her and her legacy and her beautiful artwork and her incredible designs and her acting career and all this stuff.
The drama that she was weirdly
so
involved
much
in.
Drama. Yeah.
Multiple deaths that she was adjacent to.
Yep.
Well, if only Bud had enough. I'm just mad. I'm still sorry. I'm like enraptured with these photos. I'm actually finally looking at the details of this costume. The one of the in the actual movie with the actual actress.
Yeah.
I just can't get over how you're right. It looks like a painting. It looks like an illustration. Mm-hmm. It looks like someone who used to do color and backgrounds for Disney.
Yeah. It looks like it looks like a drawing. Again, it's the contour lines. It's like it almost looks. It's like half armor, half drawing.
Yeah.
Half. And again, I know people have seen this design, but I was like, I'd never really seen anybody discuss specifically why it looked so interesting, and I think that's sort of what it was to me.
Well, and those gills on the side of the head are iconic now for almost every half human, half fish design you see. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I love it, and it does this thing where like by having the 3 sets of gills on the side, it functions as like a what do they call it? Like a not outline, but it frames the face, so it pushes your eyes towards the middle eyes, right, the middle of the face. Yeah. And then the lips have this there's no nose. And it's like these really big fish lips. And it sort of frames it really beautifully. And it's just like a really interesting, it's very graphic. It's like a very graphic-y, illustrator-y type thing that I really love. I've again, obsessively been doodling it over and over again. It's so much fun to draw. Anyway, that's it. That's my tab.
That was awesome. Thank you for telling me about her. I love her.
I figured you'd like her.
I love having like a pantheon of all these forgotten women that I want to keep in my head. You know what I mean? I
figured you'd done a few of them, and I was like, how about I contribute one to anger, to being mad about.
The pool of anger inside of me hath runneth over. Runneth over. Yeah. It's almost like I can't feel it anymore.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Add some more in there. I'm glad that things are changing, and they are slowly. But what an icon. I'm also kind of obsessed with her.
That's what I was like when I was looking at. I was like, Hannah's gonna be in love with her. I was like, you're full on gonna have a crush.
I have a crush on her. I'm confused right now. I can't stop admiring her work and then being like, what?
I like how hard you're trying to just be like, her work is great. It's her work that I'm really interested in right now.
We can edit it out, but
it's her work.
It is her work, but that photo of her, the one with the bust and the head, and she's just like leaning over drawing something on an art table or whatever. I'm like,
Auga. You're like a Tex Avery cartoon right now. Your eyes are about to pop out. You're like, woo!
Here's the thing
with the horn, the steam, like,
hitting my foot on the ground.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a beautiful tab. I loved that. I love a strong woman.
I'm glad you did. I was hoping you would like.
You were right. You're like, you're gonna love this one.
Yeah.
You were right.
I usually go for goofy ones, but I was like, I'm gonna give you something a little bit more substantive this time. I was like, this is more of like your jam. I felt.
It's funny because I went full goofy this week.
Good. Mine was more. Mine is like very heavy and serious and like tragic.
Hey, look. No, thank you. I love that.
All right. What do you have for us this week?
My goofy tab is well, before I get into it, I want to ask you something. Do you have any tattoos?
I have no tattoos.
Me neither.
Never was interested, never wanted to get a tattoo.
Never was on your thing.
Never was on my thing. I think ear piercings was one that I thought I would want. I wanted to get at one point, and I bitched out. And now I'm like, I can't get ear piercings at 41. What am I, Harrison Ford?
No,
I can't do that.
People would like sit you down and ask if you're okay.
Is everything
like,
all right?
Loved ones would be like, have you lost your mind?
I think that window is closed. Although I don't know, maybe I should just do it and just get it out of my system and be done with it. But I don't know. I don't have that strong desire anymore the way that I used to.
Right.
But, no, in answer to your question, I don't have any tattoos. Never really thought.
Would you ever get one?
Here's the thing. This is a little bit TMI, but I am covered in hair. So it's not really like a great option for me. And like you can get a tattoo under hair, but it's just like, what's the I feel like it doesn't really look as cool. Right. It's not as interesting, I feel like.
I hadn't even thought about that.
I can't have like a cool like look at my like a sleeve of like this like What are we doing here, right?
No, it's going to be completely obscured by
even like my inner arm is like hairy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know your inner arm. That's impressive, dude.
Yeah, I'm like speaking of a universal monster and like a hairy wolf man.
Remember that episode, Werewolves and Witches?
Exactly.
Two genders?
I'm the werewolf and you're the witch. That's what it was. Peter Stump.
Peter Stump, and they would have killed both of us. So here's another question.
Yeah.
What would it take for someone? What bribery could someone give you for you to get a tattoo? Let's say food. If someone were to promise you a lifetime supply of your favorite food, would you get a tattoo of 100%, whatever they chose?
Without question. Yeah, I don't care. Wait, hold on. Let me say without question. Are you talking about like a giant face tattoo or like something on my ass or just any tattoo somewhere?
You have a choice of where to put it.
How big?
But it has to be what they choose. Like that big.
Yeah, I don't care. Inner thigh. If I'm getting free food, immediately, yes.
Lifetime of free food. Okay.
I don't give a shit. Yes. Do you know how cheap I am? I'm like, I don't care. I'll go on my inner thigh and then no one will ever see it.
I know how cheap you are.
Yeah.
I know how you... Look.
How is this even a question? I know you're asking for the sake of the show. I'm
leading into the fact that if you were around in 1998 in the Mission neighborhood of San Francisco...
Mission. Free burritos.
And imagine you're walking, right, in the Mission. In the 90s San Francisco, which is like... Last great time of San Francisco. And you see this beautiful restaurant. It's not beautiful. It's just a regular restaurant, but it's called Casa Sanchez. Okay. And there is a sign on the door that says, if you get our logo tattooed onto your body, you get a lifetime of free food from us.
Sign me up.
Great. And you would not be the only one, because this is the story of the Jimmy the Corn Boy. Hold on. Jimmy the Corn Man tattoo tacos for tats promo deal at Casa Sanchez restaurant. That was a whole bunch of words.
Jimmy the Corn Man.
Let me send you a photo of old Jimmy the Corn Man.
It's already my favorite name ever for a marketing campaign is Jimmy the Corn Man.
This is the company.
Jimmy Corn.
Jimmy Corn.
Jim Board.
Casa Sanchez. Their logo was this little guy. It's a little guy wearing a sombrero.
This is an awesome tattoo as well.
I know. He's riding a cob of corn like a rocket ship.
And it looks like it's got Batman ears on the back of it.
Yes. It's like it's just a kid in a sombrero on a rocket ship corn cob. So
listen, I'm not saying this to be funny. Literally, Sarah would just be like, I'm thrilled that you got this tattoo if I got it. Because Sarah would just love this tiny kid with a sombrero. Sarah would find this adorable. This
tattoo.
Yes.
So we're in 1998, right? Martha Sanchez, the owner of Casa Sanchez, had a great idea because one day somebody came into the restaurant, a very loyal customer, and was like, "Hey, by the way, I love your food. I love the logo. Look what I did. What do you think?" And she shows her that she got a tattoo of the Corn Man, and Martha was like, "Oh, like ding ding ding, I have an idea." And Martha's a little bit of like a publicity genius because she'll see why. And so she's like, here's what we're going to do. That lady got a tattoo because she loves us. We're going to say this. We're going to try to get as many people to get a tattoo of our logo as possible. And she would offer a promo of free food from their restaurant for life if they got it on their body. So Martha put a sign announcing the promo in the window and waited. And her sister was like, what are you doing? This is not a good idea. And so her sister would take the sign down, and
especially in the Mission. The Mission is like people just do this on a Tuesday for fun.
That's what happened with this guy I'm going to talk about next. He was literally just like, I'll get there. So her sister was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. That is no one's going to get a tattoo of our logo. And Martha's like, probably not. But hey.
No, I'm thinking it's the opposite, where everyone's just going to be like San Francisco, especially at that time.
Well, now we know. But like at the time, like this like multi-family owned restaurant that's been like a mainstay, they're not going to be like some crazy people out there are going to get a tattoo. They're still kind of, there's like an old school feel to it.
I guess you're right, yeah.
So they went back and forth. The sister kept taking down the poster, and Martha kept hanging it back up, and sister kept taking it down. And finally, Martha won out because her sister's like, whatever, no one's going to do this. Enter Greg, I think his last name is Teets. I'm not sure. It's either that or Tits, so take your pick.
Oh, Greg Tits.
He's still alive. Greg, I'm sorry. I should have looked up how your name was pronounced.
Greggy Teets.
So, enter Greg Teets, a 35-year-old bartender who was walking through the neighborhood he had just moved into like a year before.
Okay.
Kind of like wanting to explore, see what the whole place was about. He was relatively new, and he wanted to go down some streets he'd never been down before. So he walks down this street where Casa Sanchez is, and he sees this sign. And now Greg has been wanting a tattoo his whole life, and it has taken him to the age of 35 to decide what to get because he couldn't make up his mind. He said he was like racked with indecision, and he was like, why would I ever it has to be perfect. It has to be great. And he sees this poster, and he's like, that's my first tattoo.
That's the most 35-year-old tattoo decision. It's like, it has to be 100%. Functional, and it has to make financial sense for me. I'm making money.
No, he said, he was like, this is a win-win. This is win-win.
Perfect.
Why wouldn't I? I want a tattoo. Someone else is making the decision for me, and I get free food for my whole life.
The only thing that would have made this better is if he got him on his own tits, assuming he has them, because he's Greg Tits.
Greg Tits. I think he's Greg. I'm going to say Teets, but that's just a nice way of saying tits. Greg Tits. Sorry, Greg.
Short for Gregorius Titotius.
That's the gun as Nixon's best friend.
Dude, meet Gregorius Titotius at the shitting wall.
Love the shitting wall.
Love the shitting wall.
No one else does. So I think someone told me, who was it? I think was it Nico? Or no, I met someone in real life and they're like, it's not my favorite.
Not my favorite, yeah.
Like, good thing it's not your
keep
podcast.
doing it. Now we're just antagonizing our own audience.
It's bad.
We need a new one.
He sees this poster. Greg's like, okay, hold on. Before I go and do this, I need to talk to my very tattooed friend, Guido. So he goes back to work. He works at a bar, and Guido works there too. So Guido's like, are you stupid? Of course you're getting this tattoo, and so am I.
Nice.
And so the two of them go to it. He finds a good tattoo parlor because Guido's, knows tattoos. They get the tattoo and they go back to the restaurant, and Martha's like, what? You actually did it? Delighted. And he's like, okay, so what's the, free food thing?
Yeah.
And so they work something out. I think it's like once a week he can come in and get a free meal. But within 24 hours, 4 more people get the tattoo. And from there, it was like a pre-viral meme where people would see them with the tattoo and be like, what is that? They'd be like, oh, you get free food for life. And they're like, that sounds great because I live in San Francisco in 1998.
I was going to say, if you're a homeless person in San Francisco, like you just take that money if you're able to gather any from, whatever, begging or panhandling. Right. You get a tattoo, you have food for the rest of your life.
You're set.
You're solving problems.
As more people took them up on this deal, the Sanchez's were like, wait a second. We didn't do the math behind this.
Yep.
So what is it that we've promised these people? And so they figured, okay, let's say 50 people get the tattoo and they stay living in this area for their lifetime, let's say 50 years. What would it cost us to give 50 people free tacos every week for 50 years? And they came up with the number of $5 million. So the Sanchez's are like, oh no, this might backfire. And Martha's dad was like, we need to change the terms of the deal. And Martha's like, people are already getting tattoos. I can't do that. Like, we're in too deep. And his wife and her mom refused. She was like, a deal is a deal. We're never going back on our word. And so it's like, yeah, that's awesome. But they did require them to fill out an application and an interview just to make sure they could like keep track of like
how many people,
who was going to be coming in for food, how to recognize them, all that stuff.
I see.
And they decided to cap it at 50 people. Okay. They were like,
smart.
So They were still kept the deal, but they were
it's
like...
a hell of a Black Friday deal. First 50 people who come in here and get tattooed will get food for life.
Well, it's funny because they actually ended up setting up a tattoo bench in the restaurant because people were like, no, I need to do this.
Sounds horribly unsanitary.
Super unsanitary, but hey.
Tacos and tattoos.
Meanwhile, Greg Teets became sort of this like poster boy for this whole meme. This whole tats for taco deal.
Tats for tots.
Found tats for tots. That's going to be my new charity.
Yeah.
2025, tattoos for tots.
If you're Tiny Tim and you're a Victorian starving poor boy, get a tattoo and we'll give you gruel.
Oh, my favorite. His favorite.
Spot more of gruel, please, sir.
I wonder what gruel tastes like.
Bowl. What's that?
Chorizo, please.
Chorizo, please. Yeah.
What?
Do you have any vegetarian options?
Soy riso?
Soy riso?
Just like, get out of here, Tiny Tim.
Oh, is guacamole extra?
Like, this isn't Chipotle. No. Even we're not Chipotle.
I cannot process pinto beans, unfortunately. Can you please give me the black variety?
I can only eat gruel. What is gruel?
I don't know. Slop?
I want to eat gruel.
Of course you'd want to eat gruel.
I want to try.
Leftovers? I'm not entirely sure what gruel. I think gruel is like oat or something. I don't know.
Is it oats?
Barley? I'm not sure.
You know, I need to eat. I want to try gruel. That's my new...
Gruel for stool.
I don't think it's going to create stool. I don't think I'm going to feel good at all after eating gruel.
Gruel for tools.
Stay in gruel, kids. Okay. Look, there's nothing left, you know, to feel good about.
Listen, all you have to remember is I'm going to take credit for your tab, Hannah. That's what's going to happen next. That's how this ends.
I was the one who talked about the tacos.
I can't believe you went to take credit for the taco tattoo tab. It's a mouthful.
That's our fallout. We get in like TMZ.
You are fired from... I don't know why I have... It's all Victorian
Why
era.
is everyone British today? Anyway, so poster boy for tats for tacos. And Greg finds himself like getting asked by international news stations to come do interviews. So he's like this 35-year-old bartender who, like, all things considered, you know, the NPR was just like, can you come be on our show? And he was like, sure. And he just was like, yeah, let's go for it. And he was like photographed in the restaurant.
I'm Robert Siegel, and this is All Things Considered. Please.
And this man got a taco tattoo. Or
would you get a tattoo on your mouth for lots of free food? That's what this man. That's what Greg Teets did when he got a tattoo on his tits. Greg, welcome to the show.
Greg, let us just see those tits really quick.
See them titties, boy.
Show us, boy. Boy. Show us them tits, boy. I don't like anything.
Classic NPR style of interviewing. Show us them tits, boy.
You know when Ira Glass always says his famous show us
show
them
your
tits, boy? Yeah. American classic right there. How would he sound? He's all whispery like this. What would he sound like? He'd be
I was thinking of what's his name?
Can you show us those tits, boy? Hi, this is Ira Glass, and we're here to see some tits, boy.
Live from NPR News, this is Lakshmi Singh. What's her name? Lakshmi Singh, right?
I don't know.
from Washington. Today in San Francisco, there was a man with a taco on his tits wanting to get free food.
He just starts going shirtless just cuz. That's how it's going to end.
That's the way you get people to go viral.
Interesting riff on that. I'm into it though.
It is Lakshmi Singh. I wanted to make sure I remembered her name correctly.
Well, Greg the taco titty boy ends up getting taken.
That's a t-shirt.
35-year-old
Greg the taco titty boy. Now, would you get that tattooed on yourself for free tits? I don't know.
I mean, it depends on what that means. No. Because you know what? I don't objectify women.
You don't objectify tacos like that.
I don't objectify them. So Greg, here's the thing. Greg is still like very much alive and like has a professional job. So
is he still bartending?
No, he does like video or something. He does like some
he'll understand the value of making something funny and have it go viral. Not Greg, that this is going to go viral.
It better not.
Listen, we are not Mantis Toboggan. This is not a virus video.
No, This is not a virus video.
Yeah, Mantis toboggan. Anyway, derailed. Sorry. Greg
look, it's
gets interviewed by Lakshmi Singh. That's all I kept thinking of.
He gets interviewed on All Things Considered, and he's like, pretty much I just sat there and everyone on the show was just like making fun of me the entire time.
That sounds awesome, honestly. I would love to go on NPR and get made. I mean that sincerely. I feel like that would be such a fun time.
Could you imagine just like the panel of people just being like, you idiot, why would you do this? So yeah, he just got like roasted by a bunch of people. And he was like, he's so chill. He's just like, yeah, why not? Why not go be on NPR? And then like this place in Germany was like, can we do a travel segment on you? And he's like, sure. And so he was on German TV. And then China, a Chinese TV show, was like, Greg Titz, we need you on our show. And so then he ends up in China and he brings his friend Guido along for some of these. And he gets like photographed. Like there's so many photos of him showing off his like arm tattoo of this like Jimmy the Corn Man, which I'd love to design Jimmy the Corn Man as a cryptid. So Jimmy the Corn Man, a cryptid from San Francisco.
I was going to say that could be a San Francisco cryptid. Mothman's Compendium of Northern California Cryptids, which is one that I've been working. Oh, I shouldn't talk about this. That is one that
I didn't even know that. Have you really?
Tell you that.
I didn't know that.
And not actively. Currently... I've thrown some ideas on a sketchbook, but it's not one that I'm like trying to deliver by next year necessarily. But that is one that is the natural progression of this. Is I would go to Northern California. Yeah, I've been thinking about
California.
It's all California. It's all good. I love all of California.
Valley.
Yeah, exactly.
Silicon Valley cryptids would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it went international, and he and Guido ended up going on things, and then he was also being photographed a lot. So like in local papers, it was spreading like wildfire, and people just started getting the tattoo even without the free food.
Just for fun.
For fun, because it was like a...
Posers. They're like, name 5 tacos from that place.
Apparently, though, this restaurant... Okay, so sorry, I'll get there. And he was enjoying the publicity, and by the time it fizzled out, apparently more than 80 people were walking around with Jimmy the Corn Man tattoos and the promise of free tacos for a lot of them. So, fast forward to 2012.
Yeah.
And this restaurant, 2010, and this restaurant, Casa Sanchez, is struggling. Because
I'm surprised it lasted even that long.
I know. Can you? If you remember, 2010 was like full swing repression.
Yeah.
No,
the Great Recession. The housing crisis.
I don't got no words in this brain.
I don't got no words in this taco.
I don't give a about tacos. Anyway, the recession was in full swing, and so this restaurant was really struggling. And so they were like, fine, we're going to do this again. We're going to do the tattoo thing again.
They brought it back?
They brought it back. You could have gotten one.
Can't believe I didn't do this.
I know. Disgusting. They brought it back, and a lot more people came back and got it, and they lasted for 2 more years. The restaurant did. Apparently, I stopped writing on my story, so I'm gonna wing it. I fully thought I had the rest of the story. So, 2012 rolls around in the restaurant. The Sanchez's are like, "Yeah, I'm a disaster." The Sanchez's are like, "We have to make a decision," because they were also known for making like really good chips. And I think you might recognize the chips. They're in grocery stores all over California, Casa Sanchez chips. And so they decided that it would be smarter for them to just keep doing that and close the restaurant. So what they did was that they sold the restaurant to another restaurant.
That's what I thought they were. Yes, I do know these, of course.
Yeah,
iconic.
You've seen those chips. Yeah,
definitely. I've had these many times.
Me too. They're really good chips.
They're delicious.
They're amazing chips. So
thick.
Californians... Yeah, that's another thing. They are like, they feel real. And like, apparently the dad was like a master in making tamales. And so
nice.
They were just
tamales
masters.
Are tough, man. They're super labor intensive.
Yeah. I made chuchos, which are Guatemalan, like a version of Guatemalan tamales with my in-laws once. And it took like 5
That's what I would call them.
Yeah. Yeah, chuchos, which just means little dog, like little stray dog.
That's funny.
Chucho. But it took like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And it was like a party. Everyone was like, okay,
I was going to say,
stuff these.
That's like when Sarah's family makes tamales back home when they go back home in Michigan, not like back in Mexico.
Back in Michigan, Mexico.
Mexico. I don't know. Anyway, it's the same thing. It's like a party where they have to make like 300 at a time or something because otherwise it doesn't make sense.
Hundreds. Yeah.
It's kind of
you
crazy.
Have all this massa. You're like, what am I going to do? I have to make 500 of these because
It doesn't make sense to do like a couple at
No.
once. You have to do a whole, and then we bring them back and they're in the freezer for months. And
For months.
It's a whole thing.
We did the same thing. We'll have like chuchos in the freezer.
They're awesome. I love them. They're delicious.
You gotta have some of the Guatemalan ones sometime. They're good. They're different. They feel different, but they're good. They're still good.
I don't discriminate against tamales.
I don't either.
Whatever tamale country or whatever country the tamale comes from, I'll go for it. Love it. Love masa. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Masa's so good. So the dad was like a genius with tamales, but they were just like, we got to cut our losses. Like, this restaurant is not getting us any business, despite all of that the tattoos. It just doesn't have the same virality as it did in the 90s, where that like live and let live attitude of like, yeah, why not? I'll get a tattoo of a little boy on a corn cob rocket.
This isn't the Clinton era. We're in the Obama era now. Everything's different. Era. We've seen a great recession.
Makes it less fun.
That's like real virality. Yeah, it's not like in-person virality like it used to be. This is like listen, in the 90s, viral things were like, taco tattoos, and then the guy from Wonder Years being Marilyn Manson who removed his ribs to suck his own dick. Those were the two viral memes that we had in the 90s.
Marilyn Manson removing his ribs was a 90s kid phenomenon.
100%.
I don't understand it. Where did it start? It's incredible. I heard that from everyone. My whole life. Everyone in this whole beautiful world heard that.
Yep. And that he was Paul from the Wonder Years. That was the other one. It's funny that they were both about Marilyn Manson. I bet you Marilyn Manson started both of them because he was like that kind of guy. Yeah.
So the parents end up like dying. Obviously they're like in their 80s.
Like old age, not like
old age. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The recession just straight up killed them.
I was like, damn.
It could happen, but a little ways. I found the obituary of the mom, and it was a really sweet obituary. It was like they seemed like a really like solid family
good
that
couple.
loves what they do, and their kids all loved what they do. Like it was like just this. I would have loved to see a sitcom of the restaurant with this family. Like I feel like it would have been fun.
That would be really fun. No, I'm just saying. I'm tapping my nose. I'm like, it's something
your
to
idea.
Develop.
Your idea. Tapping your idea nose.
My idea.
I don't know. So there's people walking around with new tattoos of this, and you can still buy their chips in the store. But here's the fun thing. It's all fun. Greg, Teets. I'm going to call him Greg. Greg and Guido, they end up having these meetups with all these people that got the tattoos for like years after. And so there's like this, I'm imagining they've got to have some group chat somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say they have like a tattoo Discord of some sort where they all just sit in there and they're like, check it out. I had tacos from somewhere else.
Yes. Exactly, like our Live Moss tab. Is that what you're talking about?
Or just our Discord in general, which you should join if you've not joined. It's a great place to build community and talk about tacos and tamales.
Yeah.
Amongst other things.
We are single-handedly keeping Taco Bell afloat in this economy. And I thought about it. I'm like, if I got free Taco Bell for the rest of my life, I would 100% get their logo tattooed on my body. I feel like
even if you didn't get it for free for the rest of your life, you would consider getting a Taco Bell tattoo.
I would consider it.
Just for the gag.
So Greg ended up becoming really good friends with one of them. And the two of them, I can't remember her name, but the two of them started a band.
Oh.
And they were in a band together for years. And he became like great friends with her husband, who also, I think, maybe got a tattoo. And then they've been, one of them like came to us, like they're like go traveling together, like as buddies. And like the dozens of these people with the same tattoo are still friends, which I think is just beautiful.
Very cute. Very fun.
What a great, wholesome, no one unalived themselves in this story.
Good. Unlike mine.
But yeah, I like thinking about like what would it take for me to put someone's logo on my body? And I realized not very much.
I like that it's an independent restaurant and not like, I got the Target tattoo on me and then I could get free like landfill, as you like to say.
It's landfill.
It's landfill.
Speaking of landfill, where is he? Oh.
Bat Trick.
He does not smell good. This is Bat Trick. Can't even believe you. Oh, there he is. We were going to split custody, but we decided to just get two.
Speaking of Target, we went to the Husk Target.
We went to the Husk Target that we talked about in episode whatever.
And I was like, we have to get something while we're here as like a keepsake. And Hannah was like, everything is landfill. I hate all of it. And then I saw that this thing was named Bat Trick, which is the dumbest name ever. And I was like, we have to buy Bat Trick, obviously.
And then I got jealous that he had something cool. And like a child, I was like, I have to also have Bat Trick. It literally played out like that. It was not good. I was like, listen, fine, I'm going to get Bat Trick too.
I love Bat Trick. He's our landfill king.
We almost got
The official
Funko Pops of, what was it?
Surge Cola.
Surge. A Funko Pop of Surge. We almost got that instead.
Well, because my thing was like, I'm like, we have to get something that's the stupidest thing possible that we can buy, because we both hate Funko. Should we say that on the internet? I don't know.
I always say archaeology in the future is going to have a unit in their classes called the Funko layer, because there's going to be an entire layer of just Funko Pops that people are going to end up throwing in a landfill.
I would say I don't necessarily hate Funko. I just feel like its time has passed, is what I would say.
Yeah, me too.
And but then there was Surge Cola, which is very famous from the 90s.
Surge.
Once again, I just thought it was really stupid, and I knew that you disliked Funko, so I was like, we have to get the Funko Pop of
means
Surge.
A lot, actually. It's nice. You see something I hate, and you're like, Hannah.
It's like, unfortunately, they didn't have Ronald Reagan wearing sweatpants Funko Pop. Come on, Funko, get on that.
I've learned to love that. To love Reagan in sweatpants.
You would. Anyway, that's Patrick.
Anyway, I've been changed because I do love Patrick. He's our sons. We have multiple. The four of us in this podcast, yes. Alyssa, us, and Joe. These are our sons. Patrick. He'll never go in a landfill. He'll be buried with me in the bog.
In the bog. He's there. Yeah, Patrick for the bog. Patrick is destined to live in the bog.
Anyway, yeah, that was my tab. I thought it was delightful, and I love the old school San Francisco memories of like before tech really,
Although frankly, tech was already on its way to destroy it back then, to be honest.
It was, yeah. But it was the last gasp. You know what I mean?
It was the last gasp, yeah. It was like the money, it was still coming in, but it hadn't quite destroyed the entire city the way that it ended
You could still live there.
Yeah, you could still afford to buy or to rent something.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, thank you for that. That was a lovely tab. Yeah. I love tacos. I love hearing about it.
I'm so hungry.
I'm glad that there's a community. Should we go get tacos right now?
Starving. Like, as I talked about that, I felt my stomach like.
All right. Well, then perhaps we should wrap it up. Let's move on over to the time where we close our tabs. Hannah, what would you like to do for sound effects this week?
Ooh.
How would you like to destroy everything? Should we have them be bat-tricked?
What is that? Oh, yeah. Here. We're going to just do this where like Patrick. No, Patrick. Patrick just goes.
What is that noise?
I don't know. Okay, pecked to death. Should we have our tabs pecked to death by Patrick?
Sure.
Bunch of birds pecking? Yeah.
Like pecking its eyes out. All right, go for it. You want to count us down?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Peck, 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 peck. You know?
All right, moving on to listener emails. I went first, right? Yes, I did.
Yes.
So, first email. Hello, I'm Roisin, living in Frome, Somerset, Southwest England. Did I pronounce all that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Frome, it's not like Frome.
I think it's from. Yeah, I think it's from.
From. Okay, Somerset, Southwest England, but I'm originally and proudly from Liverpool. I would say to not try mimicking the Scouse accent. Souse?
Yeah, Scouse.
Scouse. But I also feel like me saying that will just encourage comment anyways.
You know what? You're lucky, Roisin, because I don't think he knows what the Scouse accent is.
I'm also proud to have been listening to your podcast since the very first week it aired.
You sound like Dracula. You sound like you're like Transylvania.
He was from Somerset, no? I'm also proud to have been listening to your podcast since the very first week it aired. Come on. I'm trying. That was my terrible Ringo. That was my Ringo impression.
Okay, I see.
I'm also proud to have been listening to your podcast since the very first week it aired, and it's given me a weekly boost ever since.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can.
I have one of my things is where I start to like fall apart if someone's doing an accent. Did you know this?
Yeah. How about I got a better one? I'm so proud to have been listening to your podcast. That's not British. I'm just doing it to bother you now.
No, I need to lean in.
Yeah.
That did sound like Ringo.
I'm also very proud to have been listening to your podcast since the first week it aired, and it's given me a weekly boost ever since. This is the typical Liverpoolian accent.
Do Italian.
I can't do Italian.
Do regular. Just do Liverpool again.
Just Liverpool.
Apparently, it's the hardest accent.
I only know like the racist Italian accent, like from that we heard in every movie growing up. I feel like Mario. That's not a good. Yeah, I don't know how to do a real Italian accent, unfortunately.
Me neither. But no, Scouse is supposed to be the hardest accent to do because it's like
not your typical Liverpool accent.
No.
Oh, interesting.
It's like a broader, like that area. No, it is. It is Liverpool, but like the Beatles don't sound.
But they're not Scouse.
It's a very specific, like, I hear it and I'm like, oh, I think that's
now
this accent.
Scouse. Anyway.
It's just very particular. Anyway, yeah.
Rasheen says that they've been listening since the first week it aired, and it's given them a boost ever since. Thank you.
Oh,
anyway,
thanks.
My tab, I couldn't decide, are from a site that my brother Kieran introduced to me over 20 years ago. It's called halfbakery.com. It's a site that I hadn't checked out for ages, but think about from time to time. The About section states, quote, "The Half Bakery is a communal database of original fictitious inventions edited by its users. It was created by people who like to speculate both as a form of satire and as a form of creative expression. So yeah, ideas range from the gloriously simple to the complexly niche and everything in between. I hope the email was long enough. You said to keep it short and sweet, which is a huge challenge for me, but I did it. I think.
Very.
Thanks. Roshin, age 37 and a half.
I like how you put your age in there.
I love it. So the one that they submitted a couple, but one of the ones I thought was really funny was called Ultrasonic Canine Musicals with Scent Organs, Entertainments Dogs Can Enjoy.
So they're just like fake inventions?
Yeah. So first, I'm going to read from the page. Firstly, take The Sound of Music and transpose the melodies up 7 octaves so that on the whole, they are audible to dogs, but not humans. Second, go through Sound of Music and note shoehornistically, if necessary, every instance of smell. Give each character a distinctive smell and bottle it. Pour essence of Julie Andrews into an oil burner along with roses and whiskers on kittens and the like. Cover the burners and flaps, controlled by a keyboard, whose keys are marked accordingly. And invent a taxonomy for the musical, which works like a musical scale. Then operated it using paper tape or punch cards. An odor organ, in other words. Lastly, take the actual film of Sound of Music, make it black and white and grainy, change the aspect ratio and reduce it to 16 frames a second, put captions in and make it a silent to human ears, accompany it with a dramatic silent film style piano music at a lower volume than the high intensity of the ultrasonic so that the sound of piano music is much quieter to the dogs than the higher pitch real sound track for canines. Make it easy for the dogs to escape. I reckon you could cure cancer with these. Incredible. I love it.
That is the most thought I've ever seen put into literally anything.
Beautiful. I love it.
Wow. This is just a whole site like this where...
Yes. It sounds like idiotic stuff that you and I would riff on. So it's a perfect submission.
Yeah. Amazing.
Love it. Thank you, Roshin.
Yeah. I decided for mine, we have another voice memo.
Oh, we do?
Yeah. And it's from none other than Nico from Riverside.
Celebrity.
What's going on, everybody? I'm doing one of those voice things, and my tab is from a website called Forgotten Lands, Places, and Transit, all about Project Carryall. In the 1960s, a plan was proposed that would help create a path for Interstate 40 and trains that would go through the area known as the Bristol Mountains, located in the Mojave Desert of California. The original railroad path that crossed the desert was a meandering path that took a long time to cross, and the California Department of Highway was experiencing a similar issue with developing the 40. So what was the plan to remedy all this? The railroad company, along with the help of the United States Atomic Energy Commission, came up with a peaceful nuclear proposition that would see that 23 nuclear bombs ranging from 20 to 200 kilotons would strike the mountain range and level it to make it, easier to construct a railway and a highway that would shave minutes off of travel time. You just nuke the mountains. It's fine. Obviously, this caused concern from environmentalists, health officials, anyone with half of a brain, and residents that dwelled in the surrounding desert towns of Ludlow and Amboy. Thankfully, after several postponements, the project was canned, and we now have a highway and railway that was made with more reasonable means, less radiation and fallout. So if you're ever in the Mojave Desert, stop off at the Ludlow Cafe, have a nice cup of coffee, and take a look at the California Historical Marker that talks all about Project Carryall in all its baffling glory. Keep it Josie. Nico.
That is absurd.
Amazing.
First of all, again, another banger from Nico. Like, just
As
finds
always.
these amazing articles. The idea
Project Carryall.
The idea that we would just nuke a mountain to make a highway. I mean,
Peak America.
Peak America right there. Thank you, Nico.
I don't care about this mountain. I'm gonna nuke it. I don't care about athletics. These ducks.
I don't care about ducks. It's essential to be likable. That's the one I have had in my head all day.
It's a good one.
Nico,
that's excellent.
That was awesome.
And of course, there's a link to Project Carryall.
Yes, there is.
That's included.
And don't nuke mountains.
Don't.
It's 2024, and I can't believe I have to say this, but don't nuke mountains.
Don't do it.
Do I sound like everyone on Instagram with literally everything? If you want to submit your own voice memo or listener tab, you can email us at 500opentabs@gmail.com, 500opentabs. And under the same name on Instagram, you can follow us.
Yeah, and of course, if you're going to submit a tab, please give us the link, let us know where you're from, and a brief explanation about what your tab's about so we can share it with our audience. And of course, you can follow me. I'm at PermaFriends on Instagram, and I'm Covetarian on Blue Sky. Additionally, Hannah, what are you?
I'm Hannah. I'm at Hannah Hillam on everything, and both of us have books and merch, and you can check out our shops on there too. Yeah. And we also have a YouTube, which is really fun because you can see actual pictures that we're talking about, especially this episode because we talked about a lot of photos. That's fun to make sure to subscribe on there. And same with Discord. I feel like there's just endless stuff we're plugging, but that's how you do it.
That's how we survive through the modern hellscape of the tech world. So we have to pimp all of ourselves. Find us on social media and on YouTube. Like and subscribe.
And Patreon. I've been posting weekly extras from each episode that were cut that were either useless to the episode but were funny. And you can, if you want more of us, which
I can't imagine why, but I hope you do.
Yeah. If you want more of us, you can go to our Patreon and there's just one tier you sign up for and you get everything. It's a pretty good deal. There's lots on there.
You guys, I think that's basically it. I hope everyone is able to get through the week okay. Yeah. And we'll be back next week with a very fun in quotes.
Should we tell them a little bit of a hint of what it's
going to be?
Sure,
if you want to tell them, yeah.
We did an in-person episode.
Yeah, we should prep them for how...
Prepare for...
technical difficulties.
Less than professional. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
It's a fun one. It's an insane episode. I actually haven't heard...
You get to see Kaveh freak out instead of me. And you get to see me be weirdly calm instead of him. So... we do some role reversal a little bit, and the topics are really fun.
Yeah, so it's a good time. Anyway, in the meantime, listen, we've been talking about this, right? I feel like Keep It Josie it's past. I loved Keeping It Josie. I don't feel as much as Keeping It Josie. I feel like we need a new one. Keeping it, See It the Shit and Wall, unfortunately, no one likes it. It's just us.
And I kind of understand. It's very a very niche joke from one episode half a year ago. So
I guess you and I are just gonna have to say that to each other when we're in person. We got to figure out a new or sign off. I guess we'll say Keep It Josie in the meantime, but
it's gonna have to come organically.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what the next one's gonna be. But in the meantime, Keep It Josie, everybody.
How about Jimmy the Corn Man? I don't know.
Jimmy the Corn Man, everyone.
Keep it Jimmy.
Keep it Jimmy.
I hate
Keep
that.
It corny.
Oh.
Keep it Corn Man.
Corny for Corn Man.
Yeah, corn. Everyone's laughing and writing and cornholing except Jimmy.
Except Buster. Oh, yeah. Except Jimmy. Yeah, let's just do a quote from an entirely different. Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't care about this corn.
I don't care about these tacos. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.